Early in childhood, we learnt about 7 chakras. And when we came across Sahaj Marg and the teachings of Babuji, we learned that there are not only just 7, but there are many more chakras. In fact, he would say there are infinite chakras. I'll cut the story very short, and my curiosity to understand how these chakras were formed in the first place. What is the need of it? Why divinity has to descend in this fashion? It's it's like the water is flowing from the mountain, and at each level there are dams created to reduce the speed of water and force of water, so it does not destroy the whole or doesn't flood the whole thing at one go. So to me, it's like a circuit breaker. Right. How did they form was my another search. I was constantly keep on inquiring within myself, how did they come about in the first place? We understand why of it, how they were formed. So one day during my meditation, the revelation came, and since this was sometime in 2008 or 2009, and I did not trust myself at that time that this revelation could be uh, a milestone. So I wrote a letter and sent it out to Master, then Chariji, where I did not receive any answer, but in fact I was reprimanded that you are thinking too much. So then my natural thing was to divert my mind and say, okay, let me send it to our medium in France, and so that she can send it to Babuji Maharaj. And that's how it all started. And Babuji very compassionately responded that the point that you have found in yourself, it's a strategic point. Strategic point because that is where everything happens. I call it as point C because A and B were already described by Babuji Maharaj and earlier during his lifetime. So when we talked about C, I felt that this C is the center of all likes and dislikes. And from there, everything started coming. See, the next revelation was that what if I have so much of likes for the opposite sex and I'm constantly craving of it? It would create the heavier impression, or it will give me some sort of at times I would artificially create that feeling in myself of sexuality. And though my B point will lit up with so much of heaviness. And then this B point, when it remains heavy enough for a long time, it would affect my heart. It would affect my, not heart, I mean, not heart as a physical organ, but my emotion in the heart. It will become heavy. And as a result, my peace of mind would be destroyed. Right? Later on, I experimented with lack of things in life. Oh, I don't have this in life. I need more drugstores to start with. And when you begin to crave and begin to imagine that I would like to have so many things in life, better house, many drugstores, lots of money, then I could see the echoing effect of these likes on the point A. And again, continuously thinking about it, you lose peace of mind, and that would stir up the vibrations on point 2. So I could see the impact of these emotions, the moods, on first on point C, then it would either aggravate point A or point B. And later on, if they last for a little longer time, the next one, and then the next one. So that gave me the idea that how our simple obsessive likes and dislikes creates grossness in our system, complexities in our system. That doesn't mean that we don't have to like things or don't have to dislike things. Have it in moderation, say. Express it and forget it. Witness it and forget it. Don't be uh, meditating on this likes and dislikes. Don't carry on for more than 24 hours. Drop it as quickly as possible. Otherwise, they become part of our anatomy, part of our chakras, and they spoil those chakras accordingly. And what I also found that many things that I left behind in my past unattended or where I made mistakes, then I would observe at which in which area these um, feelings are gravitating. For example, the emotions related to guilt. Oh, I wish I could have told her I love you. I did not, and she's gone. Right? I wish I had studied little bit extra and gained just 1 mark extra. I could have gone into medical field. Instead, I became a pharmacist. So things like that, little, things I could have done, I didn't do. I should have done, I didn't do. Those are guilt feelings. And guilt feelings also creates some sort of pain, some sort of heaviness. And that Babuji call it as point D. And according to him, point D, these impressions of point, that impressions gathered or gravitating at point D can never be cleaned, even by the great master, even by God. Because this is something you have done deliberately with your knowledge, with your full awareness. Something you did not do or deliberately, or something you did deliberately that created guilt feeling. That cannot be removed. Only thing that can help us remove or dissolve it is our regrets, remorse, and some tears in our eyes that can wash away that guilt. And when we promise ourselves that, okay, henceforth I will not do it, that's the only thing that can help us get rid of this. So, little by little, this awareness that got gathered in, and then, many people they talk about in yoga literature that each chakra has an element, one of the 5 elements. But then I felt that it is not just that. It can have one majority and the other 4 in some proportion. And then later on, I was reading autobiography of Babuji Maharaj. Lalaji also dictates the same thing, that the others, one, for example, the heart is mainly the earth element, but the 4 others are also present. And how in Sahaj Marg and Heartfulness way we master these elements, and how there is a lower region and upper region. So all those vibrations were felt. These were felt even much earlier in my earlier days of practice in 76, 77. The clockwise and anti-clockwise movement of vibrations at each chakra. And I am sure a lot of us, a lot of our people can experience this. Just have to take a little bit more interest, slightly more interest in studying what is happening inside. And you can see these vibrations, the colors, the areas of the chakras, the moods, and the polarity associated with the moods. Polarity, what I mean by polarity is like, let's say you are on a water chakra here on the 4th chakra, which is where there is a dominance of water element. There one feels extreme levels of fear, at the same time extreme levels of courage, depending on the heaviness of it. Similarly, this point of air here, then plexus here, which is fifth chakra in our tradition, there is either so much of clarity or so much of confusion. Third chakra, which is fire, it's all about love or its opposite. On second chakra, there's so much of peace or so much of restlessness. Anyway, so all these are, I think you can associate them psychologically with different emotions. Physiologically, also, you can connect it with other stuff. For example, when you are being cleaned up through this yogic transmission, okay, usually we go very deep during such cleaning processes. When we transmit, we are uplifted somehow with a different level of awareness. Awareness changes when we are being transmitted to, and this can be felt here. We can perceive it with our awareness, with our consciousness. If we can measure the this what we call EKG, not EKG, EEG, electroencephalograph, right? Now it's easier to measure all these things, and you can easily see the changes there. When we go into, within 5 minutes, you can easily go into a delta mode, as if you are sleeping, but you are not sleeping. Delta mode is when the frequency is less than 5, between 3 to 5 hertz per second. When you're meditating and receiving transmission, it changes. And we have done studies. Now, what I would like to study further is how the cleaning changes the neurological phenomena. For example, with certain habits, a person may have a certain habit of thinking in certain way, or anger. He has what we call the bridge of anger, the neurons associated with anger, neurons associated with contemplative mind, neurons associated with certain likes, strong likes for sex, for example, and how the brain centers are firing at that moment. The neural firing happens. Now, through cleaning over 6 months with a specific cleaning, if we can see that we are able to dissolve those bridges, if we are able to do the synaptic pruning, causing all those emotions or making those brain cells work together, they are not working together now because of the cleaning. Then we can scientifically prove. I'm suggesting this while we are talking, so some of our research professional doctors who are listening to me will make a note of this and study it further. How we can study the breaking, the synaptic pruning in our brain.